Hello and welcome to One India, and I am Akash bringing you the day's highlight of Tokyo Olympics and particularly how India performed today at the Olympics 2020. So some good news coming in. Let's start with boxing over here. Lovlina Borgohain moved into the semi-finals. Yes, she won the women's welterweight quarterfinal clash at the Tokyo Olympics on Friday, assuring a medal for India in the process. Now, Lovlina became the third Indian boxer to win an Olympic medal after Vijayendra Singh and Mary Kom. Lovlina is currently world number 3, and she beat world number 2 Chen Yanchin of Chinese Taipei 4-1 to ensure that she will at least win a bronze medal for India. Now, the Indian will face Turkey's Bursunez Surumani who is the reigning world champion and currently world number 1 in the semi-finals on August 4th. Now, Lovlina is a two-time world championship who is actually a two-time world championship bronze medalist, displayed tremendous calm in the face of a plucky opponent who had beaten her in the semi-finals of the 2018 World Championship en route to winning the gold. Now, the Indian was aggressive from the start and followed up with a tremendous counter-attacking game, keeping her defense tight in the final 3 minutes to emerge triumphant. The 3-2 split decision in the first round went in her way, and the second round was dominated by Lovlina, and with all the 5 judges scoring in her favor. And in the third round, 4 out of 5 judges scored in her favor with a total score of 4-1 in her favor, helping her to inch into the semi-finals. Now, let's move on to badminton. Good news coming in here as well, as PV Sindhu continued her impressive form at this Olympic by defeating the home favorite Akina Yamaguchi 21-13, 22-20 in the quarterfinals on Friday. Now, with this win, Sindhu becomes the first Indian badminton player to reach the semi-finals in 2 Olympics. She will face world number 2, Tai Jun Wing, in the last 4 on Saturday. Now, Sindhu has not dropped a single game at this year's Olympic, and her 9-match win at the Olympic are now a joint most foreign Indian badminton player with Saina Nehwal, who won the bronze medal at the London Olympics in 2012. Yamaguchi had won 3 of her last 4 matches against Sindhu, and she started the match confidently by looking to aggressively and applying early pressure on Sindhu. She led in the early stages of the match, but Sindhu, who had won 11 of their previous 18 matches and also their only match this year, showed impressive skills, which forced the 4-seeded Japanese player to go for the line. The match was reminiscent of the meeting in the semi-finals of the 2018 World Championship, when Sindhu won 21-16, 24-22 in straight games. So a great match there. Now, moving on into archery over here, some bad news coming in, as India's Deepika Kumari was knocked out of the archery women's individual event at the Tokyo Olympic Games after losing 6-0 to South Korea's Ansan in the quarterfinals. This is Deepika's best finish in the individual event in 3 appearances at the Olympic. Now, let's talk about, now she is currently seeded 9th on the basis of the ranking round held at the start of the games, and began unfortunately poor against Anne, who earned the top seeding by setting a new Olympic record of 680 in the ranking round. Now, Indian shot a 7 in her first arrow of the first set. She came back well to shoot 2 10s in her next 2 arrows, but was left depending on the errors from Anne for a chance in the set. However, Anne ensured that there was no slightest errors on her part, and then she shot a 10 perfect, 3 10s for a perfect 30. Deepika had a better start in the second set by shooting 10 on the first arrow while she shot a 9. However, she led to a slight advantage slip away by shooting a 2-7 in the next 2 arrows, and meanwhile Anne shot 10-7 to win the set 26-24 and take a 4-0 lead in the match. Now, Deepika began the third set poorly as well, shooting 7 once again, while Anne shot with an 8. Now, the Indian then shot 8 and 9. And although Anne was shooting below her usual high level, Deepika's score was just not enough to put Anne under pressure. And she shot 2 9s on her last 2 arrows to win the set 26-24 and seal the victory at 6-0. So the grades are closed as far as Deepika is concerned for the singles event. Now, let's talk about equestrian. And over here, Dressage team and individual day 1 over here, Fouaad Mirza is tied at the 7th at the end of day with from 42 competitors with a score of 28. Now, the rest of the field, which means 21 competitors, will start tomorrow. Talking about hockey, good news coming in both for the men's team and the women's team. Let's first talk about the men's team. Now, India beat Japan 5-3 in the men's Pool A match, and they finished their Olympic group stage by a triumphant 5-3 win over Japan. India started off emphatic fashion with defender Harmanpreet Singh converting the team's first penalty corner in the 13th minute to a goal to give the team a 1-0 lead going into the second quarter. After that, forward Gurjant Singh doubled India's lead in the 17th minute. Now, Japan immediately opened its account via a goal by Kenta Takanaka. Going into the halftime, India led 2-1. The second half opened with a flurry of goals as the Japanese forward Kota Watanabe scored the equalizer in the 33rd minute, but Shamsher Singh resorted India's 1-goal lead in the very next minute. In the final quarter, Neelkant Sharma extended India's lead after a strong tussle from the either side in the 51st minute, and 5 minutes later, Gurjant Singh converted India's 4th penalty corner into his second goal of the match. Japan pulled 1 goal back in the dying stages of the match to make the final scoreline 5-3, which was in India's favor. Now, India finishes Pool A stage with 12 points in 5 games, only 1 point behind Australia. Now, talking about women's hockey, India defeated Ireland 1-0, and a flurry of unfortunate defeats by India finally came to an end as they grabbed their first win at the Tokyo Olympics versus Ireland, and they are now level at points with Ireland. They will now play Republic of South Africa in their last Pool A match. A late goal by Navneet Kaur against Ireland gave Indian women their first win. It was a crucial win under pressure. Now, Ireland will have a tough time against their match against Great Britain, because if they lose this match and India win their match against South Africa, then India will proceed towards, they will go through as they will become the 4th finisher in Pool A. Now, as the result, India hopes are very much high for making it to the quarterfinals of the women's hockey event. Still remain intact. Now, earlier in the match, Rani Rampal-led side had suffered a lot of defeat in the first 3 group stages games. Now, the first quarter between India and Ireland saw no goal, and after that, the end of the 15 minutes and the score line remained 0-0. A similar story was there in the second quarter also, and at the halftime, the score lines remained 0-0. It was now Rani Rampal's side that was actually feeling the pressure going into the third quarter, and the third quarter saw also no goal, and however, it was Navneet Kaur who finally broke the deadlock in the fourth quarter, and she gave India the much needed lead in with just 3 minutes left to the play, and India was able to take that advantage and hang on to it to the last minute to get a 1-0 victory over the team Ireland. And now let's hope for the best that they are able to beat South Africa also and get a position in the quarterfinals. Now, moving on into golf. Over here, let's talk about the men's individual stroke play round number 2 that will be continued on Saturday. Now, Anirban Lahiri is at T-20 and Udayan Udayan Mane is at T57 at the end of Friday. Moving on into shooting, bad news coming in as Manu, Bhaker and Rahi Sarnobat failed to make into the finals after finishing 15th and 32nd respectively in the women's 25-meter pistol qualification after the precision and rapid round stages on Thursday and Friday respectively. So bad news coming in here. Let's talk about athletics. Let's start with men's 3000 meters steeplechase over here. Avinash Sable finished 7th in Heat 2 with a time of 8 minutes 18.12 seconds, now bettering his own national record of 8 minutes 20.20 seconds in the process. However, he couldn't make it to the final as the top 3 from each heat plus the next 6 fastest time across all heats advanced to the 15-man final. Now let's talk about women's 100-meter prelim heat over here. Dutee Chand finished 7th in her heat with a time of 11.54 second. She did not progress to the semifinals. Talking about men's 400-meter hurdle over here, MP Jabir finished 7th in the heat 5 with a time of 50.77 seconds. He didn't advance to the semifinals. Now, moving into sailing over here, Nethra Kumanan is at the 35th position after 10 races in the women's one-person dinghy laser medal event. Vishnu Saravanan is on the 20th overall position after 10 races in the men's one-person dinghy laser event. The men's skiff 49er duo of KC Ganapathy and Varun Thakkar are in the 17th position overall after 9 races. Now moving on into boxing over here, SIMRANJIT KAUR lost 5-0 on point to Sudapon Sandhuni of Thailand in the women's lightweight round of 16. So not a good news over here as far as boxing is concerned. One more race, a mixed 4x400 relay where Revati Vimani, Subha Venkateshan, Alex Anthony and Sarthak Bhamri, they finish at the 8th in the heat, and they are 13 overall. So that is how India performed today. India's highlight of the performance today in the Tokyo Olympics. Now let's take a look at some international news as well. Bad news coming in for all the fans of Novak Djokovic, as Djokovic's hope of clinching the Golden Slam in 2021 ended in a heartbreaking defeat to Alexander Zverev in the men's single semi-final at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The German Zverev came behind to stun the Serbian by 1-6, 6-3, 6-1 in the semi-final. Now, Djokovic had been aiming to become the first man to win all 4 majors and Olympic gold in the same calendar year, matching the feat of Steffi Graf that she achieved in 1988. Well, he won the Australian and the French Open as well as the Wimbledon this year and needed the Olympic and US Open title to complete the Golden Slam. Djokovic, who has yet to win an Olympic gold medal, is into the bronze match against Pablo Busta of Spain. Djokovic was unbeaten since he began takedown by Rafael Nadal in Italian Open final in May of this year. So bad news coming in, pretty heartbreaking for Novak Djokovic there, as he won't be able to complete the Golden Slam this year too. Now moving on, a little bit of controversy that has struck the Tokyo Olympics 2020. Now Ben Wagner, the outfielder of the Israeli team's baseball team, the outfielder of the Israeli Olympic baseball team, he has apologized for an offense that he caused after posting a video on his social media where he and his teammates were testing out the cardboard beds in the Olympic Village and seeing how many athletes it will take to break them. Now, the video came off on the back of the false claim earlier in the Olympic Games that the organizers have put together the cardboard beds as a means to prevent any intimacy between athletes. But the truth is that the beds were a part of the Tokyo's 2020 plan of the game, with the beds being recycled after the Olympics. Now, Wagner and his baseball teammates decided to test out this theory as they could hold up around 441 pounds in weight. Now, the video went viral and also led to the criticism from some who felt that it was a show of disrespect to Tokyo, who are hosting the 2020 games. Now, the Israeli Olympic Committee took a dim view of this whole video, saying that they took the act very seriously, while the Israeli Baseball Association said that the matter was serious and the players have definitely apologized. Now, some more news as far as COVID is concerned, Japan, because COVID is rising there in Japan. Now, Japan has extended the coronavirus state of emergency in 4 more areas in addition to Tokyo on Friday, following a record spike in the infections as the capital hosts the Olympics. Now, the upsurge in the cases in Tokyo, despite more than 2 weeks of emergency measure, is raising doubt that they are effectively slowing down the infection. Tokyo has reported a record increase in the cases for 3 days in a row, including 3,865 on Tuesday, before logging 3,300 more on Friday. Now, the cases have doubled since last week, although the officials say that the surge is unrelated to the Olympics. Now, Japan has kept its cases and the death lower than other countries, but its 7-day rolling average is growing and now standing at 28 per 1 lakh people nationwide and 88 per 1 lakh in Tokyo, according to the Japanese Health Ministry. So the scares of coronavirus is still there as far as Japan is concerned, and they're trying their level best to overcome it. Now, and let's finally take a look at the medals tally as the day ends at Tokyo Olympics today. Now, USA currently is on the top with 41 medals, 14 gold, 16 silver, 11 bronze. China is on the second position with 38 medals, 18 gold, 9 silver, and 11 bronze. Russia is in the third position with 34 medals, 10 gold, 14 silver, 10 bronze. Host Japan are on the fourth position with 28 medals, 17 gold, 4 silver, 7 bronze. India are meanwhile on the 47th position with just 1 silver medal, as which was won by Mirabai Chanu. So that's all we have today in the Olympic days roundup, and we will be back tomorrow. And if you are enjoying this video, then don't forget to like and share. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to One India News YouTube channel as of yet, please do so by clicking the bell icon, and so that you can get all the notifications of the videos that we post here. Well, that's all from me in the day's highlight from the Tokyo Olympics 2020.